Hey everybody, we are here today doing a quick how-to video, and what I want to do is I want to show you how to make a really quick, easy meal that is literally ready, can be ready in no time. You're basically going to dump and go. So today we're going to use the Lunchbox Oven, and I'm going to make actually two little individual meals, which is great for people who are on the go. If you want, you can check out our Lunchbox Oven video where I go over what the Lunchbox does and how it works. Now, this is great if you're going to be a truck driver, you're driving a van life, RV, going camping, if you're traveling for work for whatever reason, or let's say you're just doing a Sunday, road trip through New England, taking pictures or something, and you want to have a hot meal in the vehicle as you go. Fantastic way to go. They plug into the cigarette lighter adapter. You can cook food as you go. Today we're going to actually make two meals individually separated, and it's going to be a dump and go recipe of basically roast beef. So first of all, in my Lunchbox Oven, I have it plugged in and it's heating up, and I'm using it at home, but in order to use it at home, you got to get one of these little adapter things right here. And they can plug into a wall outlet. But otherwise, you could just, put it in your car. You could have some meals pre-made and ready to go with these, and then just be able to throw it into your vehicle and you can go. You could also do this technique with a crock pot, an Instant Pot, Ninja Foodie, whatever you want to do. So I'm just using the Lunchbox Oven for right now, because I think right now I've had a lot of questions on our groups on people saying, well, I drive for a living, or I do a lot of traveling and I want to have a hot meal as I go, or I don't have a lot of hot lunch options at the office. And having a little device like this that's portable, you can plug it in even at your desk or someplace like that if you're working in an office, can be a great way for you to have these really nice keto, healthy comfort meals and not be reliant on the food truck or the local restaurants or something like that, and you can control your own ingredients. So what I want to do is I want to start with my vegetables. Now I've got some onions, some celery, and I have some celeriac to replace potatoes. Now, celeriac can be a little carby, but that's okay. You don't have to use a lot of it. I also have some garlic here for some added flavor. And the technique is this. You want to take your veggies and you want to put them at the bottom of your trays. And this way, as the veggies cook, they actually put steam and moisture into your meat. And it also prevents your meat from burning and sticking to the bottom of the tray. So I'm just going to make a small bed of veggies, and I'm not going to make it really thick because when I cut the meat up, I want it to fit in real easily. So I'm just going to make a small bed of veggies. Onions can be a little carby too, so you may want to use it as sparingly as you want. And if you want to, you can skip the veggies altogether. If you want to go more carnivore and just put some seasoned meat in there and let it slow cook, you could do that. That's fine. So you can make this your own. Another great thing that you could do to make life a lot easier on you is you can actually buy pre-chopped ingredients. And let's say you're on the go, like if you're a slip seat driver for a truck driver, or you don't have a lot of time because you have tight schedules and delivery, or let's say you're working at your office 14 hours a day and you don't have a lot of time to do a lot of meal prep, you can buy some pre-chopped ingredients and just put them in these trays and set them in the fridge, set them in the freezer even, and then slow cook it through your day. And you could definitely start from frozen and make things really good. So I've got my piece of meat here, and I'm just going to grab me a knife real quick. And I want to cut this so it fits inside the tray here, so it might be in a couple of pieces for each one. And what I'm going to do is inside the tray, when I put it inside the oven, I'm going to stack the trays on top of each other. So actually I have 2 meals cooking at the same time. And what I have right here is a chuck roast. And the reason why a chuck roast is great for this type of application is because it's got a flat top on the surface. So it will actually stack real nice into these little trays and make things a lot easier for you. And plus, chuck roast is generally a fattier cut of meat. It holds up really well to slow cooking. So it's really nice to have. Now, I'm taking my garlic. My garlic is my veggie that I'm going to throw on top. So let me move this stuff out of the way. My garlic is the veggie I'm going to throw on top because I like the addition of the flavor as it works through on the meat. So I'm going to grab another knife real quick, and I'm just going to chop up my garlic. Now you can use a garlic press. I kind of like doing it this way because I like the chunkier garlic. And you could also buy pre-chopped garlic. Most of the stuff that's in the jars, the flavor is been kind of greatly reduced, but it can be nice. But there's also, it's lost any of that nutritional value. So if you want to buy some pre-chopped garlic to use, there is a product, and there's a few companies that make it that you can get in your freezer aisle. And it's basically looks like an ice cube tray with chopped garlic in it. And that actually preserves more of the nutrients, cuts off a lot of your work, and you can just take one of those little squares out from the ice cube tray type thing and put it right on your food or into your soup or whatever you're doing. So I'm just going to put this in here. And you notice I'm not really doing a whole lot of measuring. I'm just kind of putting stuff in there while it fits. This is a very forgiving recipe, loosely called recipe. And this is more like a how-to. So you can be real flexible about what you put in. Let's say you don't want to use celeriac or you can't find it at your store. If you want, you could use some jicama, but it's going to taste different. The jicama is definitely going to be a different texture. Jicama is kind of funny because no matter how long you cook it, it stays crunchy. So it always tastes like it's kind of raw. But you could definitely use it in place of the potatoes if you want. Another thing that you can do is you could take some squash chunks and chop them up, you know, like some pumpkin would be really good with some different types of seasoning in here. And you could put that in. So squash works great. Now, I want to season this up. Now, when I was on the road, one of the things I absolutely loved was seasoning blends. But the problem is with a lot of seasoning blends is a lot of them contain fillers and things which are either really bad for you or don't really quite work on a keto lifestyle. A lot of times they contain sugar. They contain wheat-based anti-bulking agents. So what I have here is a very clean seasoning, and it's Redmond's real salt, and this is their organic seasoned salt. They have a variety of flavors. They got their garlic pepper salt's really nice. They have a lemon pepper, which great for seafood and chicken. So if you were doing like a roast chicken thighs or something in here with some veggies, that lemon salt would be great. Some salmon. And these are great because especially if you're in a small space, let's say an RV, maybe you're in a little tiny apartment in New York that's smaller than the RV. Having to go buy a bunch of different seasonings to make a blend to use can get very pricey. It can be hard to store. And you may not get through all of the seasoning before it goes bad. And herbs and things like that, spices, when they're processed like that, they do have an expiration date. So you really want to, you know, if you're going to get it, you're going to want to get small containers of it. And those small containers, when you add up the price, can often be pricier than the larger containers. And the little lid thing that's in here didn't go all the way down. There we go. All right. So, and what I love about this is I get a little garlic, I get a little paprika, I get a little bit of a lot of things with some great flavor. Now, one of the things that's great about pot roast, honestly, in my opinion, is usually the gravy that goes with it. So what I want to do is, as I want to cook, I want to make a nice little sauce that works with the gravy. And so I got some bone broth here, and it's homemade bone broth. It's really rich in collagen. It's very thick and gelatinous, which is really good. I'm gonna add some pepper on this too. So, and I only want a little bit because there's already going to be a lot of moisture inside here. So I got probably about 1/4 cup of the bone broth. And what I'm going to do, you can use stock if you want to as well. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this little tiny whisk, and I am going to put some konjac flour in here. So this will actually thicken as it cooks. And it's also going to absorb a lot of the juices from the vegetables and the meat, and it's going to make kind of a really nice gravy at the base of your pan. Now the other thing that's going to be really good about this too is the fact that it's going to keep a lot of moisture in your pan and in your meat and everything to make sure everything stays nice and moist and doesn't get dried out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit over the top, and be careful not to knock off that seasoning that I just put on here, but it's a little bit over the top. And then mainly it's going to go down inside the tray. And the bone broth too, the reason why I like using it is it's also going to add a lot of great nutrients with the collagen and everything that's in it. So really great thing to use. And it's going to, when these vegetables cook, and you've seen vegetables cook, they release a lot of moisture. And there's going to be a lot of, you know, there's going to be some fat and also released by the meat. So it's going to add too. So you don't have to add a lot of this to make this a real, you know, big thing. Now one of the other things I got is I got a couple of pats of butter here. This is also going to keep moisture in my meat, and it's just going to make some great flavor. You know, butter and bacon make everything taste better. So right there. And I'm just going to fill in with a little bit more vegetables around on the sides here. Not too much. I just want to fill my little container up here. Gives me a little bit more of a volume of food. Provides a little bit more moisture in there. I'm a big guy. I like to eat, so you know, not quite as big as I used to be, but I am a big guy. And I've got an appetite, so I like to, you know, try to get more bang for my buck. So I'm just going to add a bit more celery and things around the sides here. You really can't fit a whole lot into these trays, but they are perfect for just proportioned meals out. Now I got some aluminum foil. If you don't want to use aluminum foil, you can buy little metal baking trays, tins, like loaf pans. You can buy some Pyrex. If you're going to do 2 of these, you're going to want to make sure it can stack. So, and what I'm thinking right now with this is if you're driving with a partner, let's say you're a team driver, if you're driving a truck, or you're in an RV with your significant other, or let's say you're in your car getting ready to go out with your buddy on a fishing trip and you want to keep a hot meal in the vehicle so that when you guys are out, maybe it's cold out and you want to cook. have some hot meal, you know, without having, maybe there's a fire ordinance, you can't have a campfire, you could do this. Now I've got just some water here, and I'm going to add some water to the base. Okay. What this is going to do is when I close up the lunchbox, it's going to keep a constant temperature all the way through the lunchbox, so everything cooks a bit more evenly. So it's going to provide some steam on the outside of the trays to make sure everything has an even cooking temperature and cooks at the same time. The other thing it does is it helps prevent a little burning on the base of the tray. Now, one of the viewers on my lunchbox video said that he actually uses these silicone canning rings and puts them in the base underneath his trays, and it prevents the base of his lunchbox oven from burning. I think that's a great idea. So I don't remember who said that, but if you're watching, shout out to you, boss, and definitely if anybody's got these suggestions, definitely leave them. So I'm going to clamp this boy down right here. There we go. And this is a slow cooker. So this is going to take minimum 4 hours to cook. It's about 350 degrees in here. So depending on how much meat you put in there, what type of meat, you could do this, let's say with lamb, you could do this with chicken, you can do this with whatever. It's going to affect your cooking time. With this thickness of beef, I'm going to say it's going to probably take about 6 hours to get completely done. And what you're going to have is that nice fall apart beef roast in there. And there's some other things that you could add into this if you wanted to too, for different flavor. You can add some tomato, you can add some peppers, you can add some whatever. Some people I know from the country like to put tomato ketchup on their roast. Alterna Sweets is fantastic for that, and you can cook it that way and you have a lower carb. Any kind of ketchup you use, you're going to add some carbs to it though. So for right now, I'm just going to use this bone broth, and we're going to see you on the next video when this is done. All right, everybody, I'll see everybody, and we are back, and we have some hot roast going. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this out of the lunchbox oven. If you remember in the earlier part of the video, we put water in here to cook, and one of the other things I forgot to mention, it does speed up the cooking process a little bit. One of the things you're gonna wanna watch though, is steam can escape from here, and it can make your area wet. So if you're in the truck or something, you may want to put a towel down around the oven to kind of catch some of that moisture that comes out. So I'm going to show you what we got here. We got a nice tray with some pot roast, and I already plated one right here. That looks delicious, doesn't it? So you could have a really awesome meal. If you do this at work, at the office, with one of these little plug-in devices, you could be the envy of your office, having this delicious, wonderfully smelling meal coming right from your desk or wherever. You do this on the road, you could just throw some things together, have an awesome meal without being stuck relying on whatever's around you that you might possibly get something to eat at, like a C-store or something like that. And when I say on the road, I mean not just trucking, but this thing, it could be great if you're traveling for work, or if you're doing the RV thing, like I said earlier, or the Sunday road trips. So you can do all kinds of stuff. And I also want to show you this again. We did use the Redmond's real salt, the seasoned salt. This stuff is delicious, and we have a discount code down below. Check the links in the show notes, and you can actually get a discount and get some really cool seasonings from Redmond. The other thing I'm going to say is make sure you hit that like, comment, and that little bell so you get notified whenever we get a video out. The more you show us support as far as comments and likes, the more these videos get out there, and the more free content we can put out. We're getting this set up to generate free content, and your support means everything to that. All right, everybody, have a great day.